Welcome to Rising Parent, where we dive into the heart of family life. Today, we're exploring the magic of family traditions. From holiday gatherings to weekly game nights, traditions weave the fabric of our family lives. They create lasting memories, strengthen bonds, and pass down our values to future generations. In this episode, our guest speakers will dive deep into Edna's article on the significance of family traditions, explore different types, and discuss how to keep these cherished customs alive. So, whether you're a parent looking to create new traditions or hoping to revive old ones, this episode is for you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something that's especially relevant, I think, for all you parents and child care providers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Family traditions. You know, those special things that make your family unique and help build those lasting memories. Have you ever really thought about, like, if there's more to them than just, fun and games?
There is a lot more to it. It's really fascinating how these traditions can be so powerful. They actually play a big role in shaping a family's identity, their communication patterns, even how well they cope with tough times.
Wow. I never thought about it like that. I always knew traditions were important, but I never realized how deeply they could impact family dynamics. So what exactly are we diving into today?
Well, today we're going to be unpacking an article. It's called The Power of Family Traditions, Creating Lasting Memories Generation After Generation. And it's written by Edna, who, along with her colleague Tim, has been working with children and families for over 2 decades.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. 20 years of experience. They must have so many incredible insights to share with us. So where do we even begin with something like family traditions?
Well, I think we should start with the basics. What exactly are family traditions? And Edna points out that they can be anything from a big annual trip to a simple weekly ritual.
Okay.
Like maybe your family always has pancakes on Sunday mornings, or you watch a particular movie together every Christmas Eve. It doesn't have to be elaborate or expensive. The key is that it's something your family does regularly and that it holds a special meaning for you.
That makes sense. So it's really about just finding those little things that bring your family together and make you feel connected.
Yeah.
My family have this tradition of going apple picking every fall. We've been doing it since I was a kid. And now I take my own children. It's not fancy.
Yeah.
But it just wouldn't feel like autumn without it.
That's a perfect example. Apple picking, a specific movie, a special meal. They all create a sense of continuity and belonging. It's those shared experiences that weave together the fabric of family life.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp on what traditions are. Now let's get into the why. Edna mentions that traditions strengthen family bonds. But how exactly does that work? Is it just because you're spending time together?
Well, it's more than just being in the same room. When families participate in these shared experiences, they're building a family story. Each tradition becomes a chapter in that story.
Okay.
Think of it like a photo album filled with memories. And over time, these chapters, these photos, weave together a narrative that binds family members together in a unique way.
I love that analogy. It really does paint a picture of how traditions contribute to that sense of shared history and identity.
Yeah.
Edna actually uses the example of a weekly family dinner to illustrate this point. And I can see how powerful something as simple as sitting down together for a meal can be.
Absolutely. It creates a sense of routine and predictability, especially for kids. In the midst of all the chaos of daily life, family dinner becomes this anchor. It's a time to connect, share stories, and just be present with each other. It's this seemingly small ritual that can yield huge benefits.
It sounds like family dinners can be a great way to foster communication within families, which, by the way, is another benefit that Edna highlights in the article.
Yes.
Communication.
She's spot on about that. When you think about it, when you have these regular moments of togetherness built into your week, it creates natural opportunities for conversation.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as asking, "How was your day?" Or "What are you looking forward to this week?"
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like traditions provide a framework for communication. They give families a reason to come together and talk, even if it's just about everyday things.
Exactly. And sometimes those everyday conversations can lead to deeper sharing and connection. Traditions can even help to break down barriers and encourage even the most reserved family members to open up.
I'm starting to understand just how multifaceted these traditions can be. We've already talked about how they strengthen bonds, how they foster communication. But Edna also mentions that they provide support, particularly during difficult times. I'd love to hear more about that.
It's remarkable how traditions can act as a source of comfort and stability when things get tough. You know, when life throws you a curveball, those familiar routines and rituals can be incredibly grounding.
That resonates with me. I remember when my grandmother passed away, our family traditions, especially around the holidays, became even more important. It was like they anchored us to something familiar and comforting amidst the grief.
Exactly. It's like having a touchstone. A reminder that even in the midst of change and loss, some things remain constant. Edna points out that families facing hardships often find solace in their traditions. They offer a sense of normalcy and continuity, reminding us that we're not alone and that we have this shared history and support system to lean on.
It's like a safety net, woven from memories and shared experiences. And that brings us to the different types of traditions that Edna discusses in the article. She starts with holiday celebrations, which are often central to family life.
Holidays are such rich ground for traditions. But, it's not just about following the standard script. It's about finding ways to personalize those celebrations and make them uniquely yours.
I love that. So it's about putting your own spin on things. Like instead of just buying a generic holiday wreath, maybe your family has a tradition of making one together with natural materials you've collected.
That's a great example. Or maybe you have a funny way of opening presents or a special dish that only appears on the holiday table. It's those little twists that make traditions so special and memorable.
I remember when I was a kid, my family always decorated gingerbread houses together the week before Christmas. It was a tradition that I looked forward to all year. It wasn't about creating a perfect masterpiece. In fact, our gingerbread houses were usually a hilarious mess. But it was about the fun we had together and the memories we made.
Those are the kinds of traditions that really stick with you. It's not about perfection. It's about connection and shared joy. And speaking of shared adventures, Edna also talks about family trips as a great way to build traditions.
And it doesn't have to be some extravagant vacation. It could be something as simple as camping at the same spot every summer or taking an annual road trip to visit relatives.
Exactly. It's about getting out of your everyday routine and creating shared experiences outside of the home. These trips often become intertwined with a family's identity, like we're the kind of family who goes hiking every summer, or we always visit the beach for spring break.
So those shared adventures become part of your family's narrative. You reminisce about past trips and look forward to future ones. They become woven into the fabric of your family life. And you know what else is often woven into that fabric? Food.
Ah, yes. Special recipes, those culinary traditions that connect us to our heritage and create powerful emotional bonds. Think about the smell of your grandmother's famous cookies baking in the oven. It can instantly transport you back to childhood.
It's not just about the taste. It's about the memories and emotions that are baked into every bite. My family has a recipe for a special kind of soup that's been passed down for generations. And every time I make it, I think of all the people who have enjoyed that same soup over the years. It's a tangible connection to my family history.
It's like inheriting a culinary heirloom. And speaking of passing things down, Edna also highlights the importance of storytelling as a tradition in itself. She emphasizes the value of sharing family history, values, and life lessons through those stories.
That's so important. It's about keeping those family narratives alive. It's about connecting the past, the present, and the future. When I was growing up, my dad used to tell us stories about his childhood in a different country, and it helped me understand where he came from and why he valued certain things.
It's amazing how those stories can shape our understanding of ourselves and our families. They give us context, perspective, and a sense of belonging. It's like saying, you are a part of something bigger than yourself. You are a link in this chain of generations.
And it's not just about the past. Family storytelling can also be about the present. It can be as simple as sharing a funny anecdote about your day or talking about a challenge you're facing. It's about creating an open and communicative environment within the family.
Absolutely. And it can even be about the future. Sharing hopes, dreams, and plans for the future can be a powerful way to connect and create a sense of shared purpose.
All of this has me thinking about how we can make sure these traditions continue. How do we pass them down to our children and ensure they thrive in future generations? I know Edna touches on that in the article.
She does. And one of the key things she emphasizes is the importance of involving children in traditions from a young age. It's not enough to just tell them about a tradition. They need to actively participate and experience it firsthand.
That makes sense. Kids are much more likely to value and continue something they've been actively involved in. Like instead of just letting them watch you decorate the Christmas tree, give them age-appropriate tasks.
Exactly. Let them help hang ornaments, bake cookies, or wrap presents. Those little contributions make a big difference in fostering a sense of ownership and pride. And don't be afraid to get creative and adapt traditions to fit your family's evolving needs.
That's a great point. Families change and grow, and traditions might need to evolve along with them. Maybe the exact details of a tradition shift over time, but the core values and the sentiment behind it can remain intact.
It's like taking a beloved family recipe and putting your own spin on it. The basic ingredients are still there, but you've added your own personal touch that makes it unique to your family.
I think that's a fantastic way to think about it. It's about finding that balance between honoring the past and embracing the present. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about what family traditions are, why they're important, and how to keep them alive. As we wrap up our deep dive into family traditions, what key takeaway would you say Edna leaves us with?
I think what stands out is that family traditions are so much more than just fun activities or nostalgic rituals. They're these invisible threads that weave together the fabric of our families, connecting us to the past, enriching our present, and shaping our future.
It's beautiful imagery and really drives home the point that these traditions are a gift we give not only to ourselves, but to future generations as well.
And it's a gift we can start giving at any time. It's never too early or too late to begin building those traditions, to create those threads that bind us together.
So for all the parents and childcare providers listening, what's one thing you hope they take away from this deep dive?
I'd say start thinking about the legacy you want to create for your children through the traditions you establish. What stories do you want to tell? What values do you want to pass down? What memories do you want to make?
Those are great questions to ponder. And remember, each shared experience, no matter how big or small, adds another layer of meaning to your family's story. It's about finding those moments of connection, those rituals that bring you joy and make your family feel uniquely yours.
And remember, creating these traditions isn't about perfection. It's about the intention, the effort, and the love you pour into them.
I think it's a wonderful note to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into family traditions.
It was my pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode and you're looking for more insightful deep dives into topics that matter to families, don't forget to subscribe to the deep dive. And if you know other parents or childcare providers who might find this episode helpful, please share it with them. We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic, so stay tuned.